Morning, everybody. I am currently in South Florida. I'm in very close to Miami. It's a town called Weston. Actually, there's another big city just north of Miami called Fort Lauderdale. It's actually the spring break capital of North America. So you can imagine how many college kids come here all the time. I teach at Johnson & Wales University in North Miami Beach. I'm a professor of international business. I'm actually the lead faculty who teach international business. I've been doing X-Culture now, gosh, I want to say since 2014. Vas, you started 2011, right?
2010 fall.
Okay, fall 2010. So I was MIA for a couple of years, but I believe I joined full time starting 2013. I actually piloted Global X-Culture or X-Culture Global at my university in Miami. So if you've heard stories about the global conference in Miami or in Italy, you are actually the third conference happening in this series of summer programs, what we call short-term abroad programs. And I really, really hope that you get a lot out of it. It's an amazing experience. It's amazing for us who are faculty leads and, of course, your ambassador leads. We grow and learn so much from this experience, and we do it all for you. So I hope that you can appreciate it as much as we love doing it for you. So next faculty.
So we do the introductions?
Yes.
Okay. I can go next.
Okay.
I guess most of you should probably know my name because when I send those emails every week, you see my name. So, but yes, so I'm the one who manages primarily the virtual component of the project. So when you participate in virtual teams as part of your course, so you mainly deal with me and a larger team. So Dr. Bauman is, it was her idea to bring you all together face-to-face, and she's the one who's organizing those events. So when it's face-to-face, that's her. So when it's online, that's mainly my responsibility. I'm in North Carolina, so if you drive from where Professor Bauman is for about 14 hours nonstop north, you will be where I am. So, and if you want to cross the whole continent, we counted recently, you need like a whole week just driving nonstop. So it's a very, very large continent country. So, but I'm on the same coast, not far from the ocean, not as close, but still close enough, and just a little further north. So,
Well, I have to intercede. So you guys probably all already know how humble Dr. Taraz is and how everybody calls him Vas. But something that I always try to remind him to say is he is the founding president of X-Culture. And none of this would even become a concept unless this man took the initiative and created X-Culture from a tiny, tiny little seedling. And today, look how amazing it is and how huge it is. So he's such a humble person that he forgets to remind everybody that all the time. But I'm right behind him to remind everybody that that man is the founding president of X-Culture.
Yeah, you believe that, and yes. But the truth is that X-Culture is not really a company; it's a network. And so, not only it wouldn't be possible without the work of other people, it's designed in a way that it can only work when there are many other professors and students. And so, yes, you believe what Dr. Bauman has said. I really like the sound of that. But the truth is that it's a distributed network where everybody contributes. Some more, some less, but it literally, it's a network. So it only works when many professors come together. So even if I worked 25 times as much or 1,000 times as much, but it was only me, it just wouldn't exist. So the truth is that it's a effort of many people, and by design, it's a collective type of thing. So my role here, maybe some initial push, but ever since, it's been so many people working together, and that's what makes it possible. I don't know, Karen next or Ernesto, I'm not sure who's.
Good morning. I'm in Greensboro also. I'm a lecturer for UNCG, and got to see Vas stand and present his first master's degree student their diploma yesterday, and that program incorporates X culture. So it is amazing to see all of the different ways that this program has really affected people professionally, academically. And I've been involved with X culture since 2014. I saw it online, and I thought this was a great way to incorporate a real life experience for students. And you know, several years later, here we all are, and just seeing all these great manifestations of the program. I'm so excited to be involved with the third Global Business X Culture Business Week, and Calgary is going to be a phenomenal experience. We had a little meeting with most of the Greensboro folks that are going, and we're excited. So it'll be nice to see what kind of conversation comes up today, but this is a great recording for everybody also that's not able to attend, just to get a little bit of a feel for what they're going to be in for in a couple of weeks. And I'll turn it over to Ernesto, who is from Greensboro to maybe New York to Rome, and then a bus ride to beautiful Macerata.
I suppose it is my turn. So I am actually the first one that is not based in the US. I am actually in Italy, in the center of Italy, in a small town that is called Macerata, and I was actually the host of the Symposium last year. That it was, I think, a very rewarding experience for all of us, and maybe very different in respect to other symposiums that we had maybe in very large cities like, for example, Miami, and as it will be in Calgary. I am in a medieval city, in a very ancient university, so in a different landscape in respect to other American universities. What can I say? I joined Leiliane in saying that actually sort of X culture is vast in the sense that it's doing so much for all of us. It is a network, but actually the contribution of us is so great. My role in Calgary will be actually taking care of the challenges you will be working on with Team Move. So these days, we are actually running interviews with the companies. We already had a very profitable one with the Calgary airport that are actually very happy to have you working on the challenge, and they were actually extremely dedicated to providing data, and that challenge is almost ready. The other companies very likely will be Lake Louise and the municipality of Calgary. So we will have 3 challenges. So as soon as the challenges, the documents are actually ready, we will release them to you. We will organize you in a team, and you will be working on those challenges before coming to the event. And then during the events, it will be more intensive and focused. So I am actually looking forward to working with you on those challenges and maybe pressuring you in doing a great work. Thank you.
And since we're doing introductions, I also added a few ambassadors, especially those who have participated for many years. So hopefully they will say just a couple of words. I also see Gordon, one of our professors, who is new to the team, but I just wanted to use the opportunity and thank him. He's been very involved and trying to help in different ways, sharing ideas, pointing out some of the things that need to be improved. I really value that. So we have, about 600-700 professors have participated over the years, at least 200 in a given semester, but some use it more as a sort of service. So they come, they receive the service, they thank us in the end and go, and then do the same thing again next semester. But some take it to the heart, so they kind of pay attention to details, they correct typos in the documents, they recommend some improvements, and that's really, really appreciated, because again, if professors don't do that, we will not even know about the problem. So Gordon is one of those professors. I just wanted to give him a second so he can introduce himself.
It is a pleasure to be here. I think the program is of immense value, which is why I like participating and giving feedback. My previous role as a management consultant probably contributes to that, because I look at everything critically.
We need that. We need that.
But I have to say, it's sort of the way you manage things on a shoestring. I think it's admirable. You keep the bureaucracy factor from getting out of control, and it's a great service and experience for the students. So I'm actually looking forward to my first event in Calgary. So thank you.
So Gordon, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so most of my career I was in management consulting. I was a global partner with Deloitte for about 25 years. I served multinationals around the world, although I've been in Asia about 20 years. Worked in pretty well all the major countries in Asia. Resided in 5 of them. Originally from Toronto, so Calgary is not too far. A few years ago, I said I've had a good time. It's time to give back. So I'll give back to university. So I decided to get my PhD. Focused on what makes multinationals successful or unsuccessful in Asia, and completed that at the University of Sydney, and then got a position at Singapore Management University. So I've been teaching 2 years. I created a brand new course called Management of Multinationals Across Asia, and that's where X-Culture fits in. Because for the Singaporean students, I love giving them a dose of reality of what it's like to work with people around the world. So hopefully that's good.
That's very good. And also, Gordon is one of the important things is one of those professors who not only teaches in the classroom, but also essentially takes his students to the events like the one we have here. So there will be several students from the Singapore Management University, and the professor comes with them. And again, that's what we want. And some professors do it every year. Others kind of don't care enough to do it. But thank you so much for being so involved and bringing a whole team of students from your school.
Great.
So we have a few other people. So Yevgeny and Madalena, who are kind of more on the admin side, and just as an example, a few ambassadors as well. So I'm not sure in which order you want to go. Madalena, Yevgeny, I guess.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Yev. It's easy.
Yes.
Y-E-V, right? And I'm from Ukraine. I'm responsible for more like administrative side of the global symposium, all the mailings and etc. And I've been an ambassador last year in Macerata in Italy. Yeah, that's it.
And if you don't get a reply to the email global@xculture.org and need to blame someone, that's the man. Or if you get a reply and you want to thank him for the speedy reply, that's the man.
Right.
So, hi everybody. My name is Maddalena. I live in Italy. I live in the north of Italy, so in Milan. And I participated in the virtual X-Culture Challenge when I was at university. I studied foreign languages and economics. And then last year I served as ambassador during the symposium in Macerata. And as all the professors already said, it was an amazing experience because I met a lot of people from different countries, and I met new friends, and I'm still in contact with these people. Even if the symposium lasts only a week, it's really something you can't miss, because you can learn a lot from that, both personally and professionally. And yes, this year I will be the lead ambassador in Calgary, and so all the ambassadors are in charge of the operational things and of helping the students with their challenges. So that's it from my side.
Thank you so much. Yep. We have a couple of ambassadors. Again, I see there are more in the audience, but I just wanted a few of them to introduce themselves. Karina, I see you here, and Zekil, I see here. So if you just guys want to say, and these ambassadors have participated in X-Culture, like Karina must have been a student, then a coach who knows how many times, then the head coach who knows how many times, now the ambassador. So that's, a very good example of a student who stayed with us for many more years after the project. So Karina, if you just say a few words about yourself.
So, hi everyone, my name is Karina. I live in São Paulo, Brazil, and I have been in touch with X-Culture since 2015 when I did the online competition in my university. And since then, I have participated in 2 symposiums, the first one in the Caribbean as a student, and then in 2017 as coach in the Miami Global Symposium. And as Madalena said, it's an unforgettable experience. You made a lot of friends, you learn a lot of things. So I think that's it. So I'm looking forward to meet you all in Calgary.
Thank you. And I don't see the video from Ezekiel. I'm not sure. Ezekiel, are you still here? Okay, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'm just unmuting. So hi, my name is Ezekiel. I'm currently an X-Culture coach. I was participating as a student under Professor Gordon just last year in second semester, and somehow managed to join as an ambassador. We'll be meeting you guys at the symposium later this year.
So you're in Singapore now?
Yep.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right. I see a few other ambassadors in the audience. I'm not going to add them just because we have limited time, but just to give you a sense of who is on the admin team. Leilani, please, I guess we'll go back to you.
So, again, welcome everybody. How many students do we have in the audience currently?
About 30.
Okay.
So I got probably 50 emails from people who are saying that they cannot attend either because they still have the school. Some, it's already too late in Asia. Some are on the East Coast or Hawaii. It's too early. So I guess it's okay. We are recording the meeting. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is kind of like the nature of the beast, right? So as you guys probably already know, especially those of you guys who have participated in the virtual component of X-Culture, that being asynchronous, which is watching the recording and participate after the fact, right, is probably the ideal way to go. Oftentimes because the time zones are conflicting or it's the middle of the night for somebody. So for those of you guys who are watching us in recording, welcome. And if you could post your questions in the Facebook page or to send it to Yevgeny at Global, then we'll be able to answer your questions then. But for those of you guys who are watching right now, if you have questions, just raise your hand and Professor Taraz will actually pose the question for us, okay? So,
or in the Q&A window. So just type the question there, we will see them and answer them.
Okay. So the first thing I wanted to address is how you guys were selected. And I'm going to go back to Dr. Taras with this because I want you to understand how you have surfaced to be among the 150 students who were selected to participate. I also want you to understand that when Miami happened 2 years ago, it was probably to the end of May that we actually reached capacity of 150 students. And even when Italy happened last year, probably middle May is when we reached capacity. And this year, obviously, with us having a good reputation and people becoming more aware of how the global conferences work, that we actually had a huge amount of interest and we met capacity. I want to say the first or the second week of April is when we met capacity, right, boss?
Yes, yeah. In fact, if you want, I can share my screen and just sort of show you so you have an idea of what we have to go through. First, in terms of the selection stages, very difficult. So by now, as you know, about 60,000 people have participated in the X-Culture project. And so people who participate in the project are already kind of pre-selected because first of all, they have to go to a good school. Second, they have to take the readiness test and not everyone passes the readiness test. So not everyone whose name we got from the professor was even allowed to participate in the project. Then not everyone who participates in the project is able to finish it. And then once we finish the project, so as I said, at this time, it's about 60,000 people. The time comes to decide whom should we invite. And we used to be extremely selective, but then you should understand that we have something like 20, maybe 30 indicators of performance that we can use. Like we can look at your peer evaluations. We can look at your quality of the report that your team wrote. We can look at the comments that your team members wrote about you. We can look at your quality of your work on the readiness test, timeliness with the weekly surveys, the comments you leave for us in the weekly comments, the recommendations we get from the professors. Then in the application process, we ask for recommendation letters from other professors, managers, and things like that. And so once you take it all, there is really no easy, objective, simple way to say, okay, these are the best students and these are not. For example, someone may be getting perfect peer evaluations, but maybe a little bit less perfect on some other dimensions, or vice versa. Maybe the student is definitely very strong, but just happened to have a team where there was a conflict and the peer evaluations were a little lower. So there is no easy way to sort of, objectively say, okay, this is, these are the 150 best students from, all time. So what we do is we create a big Excel file where we'll literally have your performance indicators on every dimension, and I use it, sort of color-coded. And so with that, you kind of see some names emerging in all green, kind of high on all dimensions, and some names emerging sort of in all red, so weak. But so what we do is we go then to about top 10%. So top 10% who seem to be, like really, really good, but it's still a sizable group of people. So top 10%, out of 60,000 who have ever participated, we're talking about, I think it was actually more like top 5, because we had about 2,000 people, or maybe 2,500, who got the invitation to apply. And so here is, if you see my screen, here is how many people applied as of now. So the Calgary Symposium, we have 1,150 applications. So it's about half of the people who were invited to apply used the opportunity and submitted the application. But then the fun begins. We had to go through those applications. Yev was actually the one who had to look at all those recommendation letters and all those statements. Again, some of them were easy to disqualify. For example, the statement why I should be selected is, like 2 sentences. And even though those are the right things, but it kind of tells us that the student didn't care enough. But then again, what if the recommendation letter is missing? What if it was some sort of a technical problem? So he went out to people who submitted the applications, making sure that it was not a technical problem. So anyway, from that pool, we selected about 150 people who were best of the best of the best, and invited send them the invitations to register. But as that was happening, several other developments were happening. We started getting a lot of emails from people who were saying, how come I was not even invited? Yes, my peer evaluations maybe were not perfect, but you should look at the fact that, we had so many conflicts in the team and we still finished and we got the perfect report. I mean, doesn't that count for something? Or we would get emails from professors who say, no, this is a really strong student on every respect. Yes, maybe the report in the end was not perfect, but I mean, look at his other performance. And so we decided this time at some point to invite a few more students to apply because, as I said, it's not possible to condense it to one dimension, and then paid super special attention to their recommendation letters and statements and, to see what's going on there. So after kind of multiple rounds and some interviews and, discussions, in the end, we selected 150 students, sent them the invitations. Not all of them applied. So some of them, the plans have changed. Some of them didn't know that they would if they would be able to get the funding to attend the event. There were a few who didn't get the Canadian visa. So in the end, a few other spots opened. And so we invited another wave of the students, and then of those, almost all registered, but there were still a few left. And so we had to go through several rounds. And so as of now, we have 154, I believe, selected, because we know somebody may drop out. But we, as you can see, we have basically 1,000 on the wait list. And so we'll see what we're going to do. I dread the moment when I will have to send the final no to those 1,000 people saying that, sorry, but now it's definitely a no. Now it's completely formed and it's too late. And so no hope for this year. Try again next year. But anyway, I apologize in advance to those who were not selected. I guess they will not be watching this webinar, but I feel bad about it. But we have room only for 150. Even 150 is a large group, and but even this one is hard to manage, and we just have to do it probably more frequently. And hopefully, if you cannot attend this year, or those who cannot attend this year will attend next year. But those 150 who are in the group, you can be really proud because you've gone through like 10 levels of selection, and hopefully you're the best of the best. One question I have for Professor Bauman is, Leilani, what if during the, we had that situation in the last year, what if during this, preparation stage before we go to Canada, some of the team members will turn out to be not very active, again, for whatever reason? Is it still possible that somebody can be excluded even though they've been now officially accepted, or once in, they're guaranteed the placement?
Okay, so I'm going to play Pollyanna on this because, first of all, you highlighted the challenges that we went through in selecting the 154 students that we have on the list, okay? And I wanted you to really go through this detail with the students because I wanted them to realize the selection process, how tedious it was, how meaningful this opportunity is for them, and how they can actually take this opportunity and allow them to evolve going through it successfully. So that question of you asking me whether or not we can still fire people, basically that's the question, right? If we can still fire people for non-participation.
Yes.
I want to say yes, that can happen. But at the same time, I think that if students understand the gravity or the capacity that they participate in, that shouldn't happen at this point, that will preempt a lot of that free rider mentality, and that, you know, understand that if you are on this team among the 154 students that we have right now, you got to bring it on, because we selected you as among the best. This is your reward for having surfaced as the cream of the crop. And if you waste this opportunity, you are really cheating yourself, not us. I mean, we'll be disappointed, but you're cheating yourself of an opportunity of a lifetime. And this really does start as a trajectory of the future that you are creating for yourself, right? We as faculty and ambassadors, the leadership team, we are co-creating with you a life that you can impact in some way, right? Vas and I and Ernest, we all talk about this all the time, that, you know, we want to see a world that we want our children and grandchildren to grow in. And the only way we can do that is to teach a lot of global citizens how to be humanitarians, how to be amazing managers, how to be empathic, how to be culturally intelligent. And the only way that you can successfully do that is to participate in your education. So if you are a free rider, get off our team. But if you are in our team, we expect 110% from you. And if you are among the best of the best, we know that you have the capacity to do it. And
Yes.
I'm not going to say that again. So hopefully it was recorded.
If I can add something on this point regarding free riders. So yes, you may be excluded, but we are actually also considering that once you are in Calgary, you know, there are some expectations, because we will have the management of the Calgary airport or the municipality of Calgary that will be visiting us on Monday, we'll be visiting them on Tuesday, then there will be a presentation. So there are actually some expectations, because these people have been doing some work for us. So actually, if some of you will be a free rider once we are actually in Calgary, what me and Tim are thinking about, that is excluding the free riders from presenting in the very last day to the CEO and to the management of the company. So actually, this is what we are going to do in order to avoid that people that are coming to Calgary may become free riders because they are visiting the city or whatever. But I am certain that this is not going to happen, because actually the climate will be favorable to hard working, and I expect that the number of free riders will be extremely low or maybe not existent. This is my expectation. But if it happens, we have actually measures in order to address this issue.
Are you satisfied with that, Vas?
Yes, very much so. And yes, you're absolutely right, Leilani, that at this stage, I mean, we don't really expect any problems. I mean, hopefully after so many rounds of selection, there will be no slackers on the team. But, you know, if something happens, we'll...
Right. But, you know, I wanted to set the expectation right from the beginning, so that there is absolutely no question that everybody that is on this team right now is completely capable of being an exceptional team member. So there's no reason for you to be a free rider. And of course, understanding that there are consequences to that. And hopefully this is the last and only conversation that we will ever have regarding this. But we do have procedures that we can exercise through Professor Cavoletti and Professor Tim Muth if anything ever happens within teams. Okay, so I want to move on from that now that we've set the expectations, and I actually want to share with you the I had it open.
What happens next?
The agenda. Let me see if I can find it. I'm really bad at sharing stuff on this Zoom video. Okay, so let's start with the travel document. So now that I have the travel document open, I hit share, and then I go to the travel document. Okay.
Yeah, we see it.
Okay, so now many of you guys have yet to prepare your travel documents or your travel your flight arrangements, your travel arrangements, and your transportation arrangements. Okay, so Madalena and the ambassadors put this together for you. These are actually the ideal way that you can get from wherever you're flying from into Calgary, right? There's only one airport. So it is Calgary International Airport. And when you get to the airport, you have multiple ways of getting to the university. We are not providing you transportation from the airport to the university. You will have to figure that out yourself. However, we are working with the Calgary International Airport, where we're going to have a central meeting point for you guys. And also we are working with the ambassadors to where we know approximately how many people will be arriving at a certain time. And Madalena will post that on Facebook so that students can team up and actually go from the airport into the university in groups, okay? If you choose to go through public transportation, here's instructions right here at number 2. And if you choose to go by cab, which I heard is actually more ideal, because if 4 or 5 of you guys team up together to share a cab, it's 30 to 40 Canadian dollars. I mean, it's, less than 10 Canadian dollars per person, perhaps. So with regards to your transportation, the route you're going to be taking from the airport to the to housing, that needs to be taken care of immediately. Now, hopefully, the vast majority of you who needed a visa or any kind of immigration documents, you have already taken care of that. The timeliness of that is really critical. And if at this point you have not applied for your visa, I don't know if there's actually enough time to do that. You might have to put that in as an emergency visa application. But there is information here, first of all, to find out if you do need a visa. Americans don't need a visa to go into Canada, for example. But those of you guys who are coming from Africa or some countries in South America, or even some countries in subcontinent Asia, Pakistan, Afghanistan, India, I believe you will need a visa to go into Canada. So please check yourselves to make sure that you have what you need to arrive to Canada. The accommodations, and again, this is all in your Facebook. For those of you guys who have not been visiting your Facebook, you can download this and study it more later on. But your accommodations are included in your $895 registration. It is covered from Sunday night, July 14th, until Saturday morning, July 20th. We anticipate that everybody will be clearing the dormitories. Typically, the latest departure time is like noon on Saturday. And on Sunday, the earliest arrival time is about, let's say about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm going to try to make arrangements to see if we can make that earlier, because that evening, and this is still to be determined, but we have a planned welcome reception. The time is to be determined because we have to see, we got to get everybody registered, and there's a lot of things that are going to be happening. So that Sunday, July 14th is still kind of needing a little bit more tweaking in terms of registration, arrivals, registration, and going to the welcome reception. The address to Cananastus Hall, for those of you guys who need it, is towards the bottom. I don't see it. It says location on campus. Okay, there's a here link there. So I'm assuming that that will bring you there. But for those of you guys who need to know where you're going to be staying, all X-Culture participants will be staying at the Cananastus Hall. However, if you would like to arrive before the conference or stay post-conference, that's available to you too, but you need to make those arrangements now. So many of you guys might know this, but the week before X-Culture is actually Stampede. And Stampede is probably the world's most famous, largest rodeo, and it brings in thousands of people. Therefore, housing is going to be limited, transportation is going to be booked, restaurants are going to be busy. But if you would like to participate in Stampede, that's the week right before X-Culture, and that's the reason why we actually scheduled it there, so that people who are interested in joining Stampede can come a few days before and actually get to see what all of the excitement is. Post-conference, you can also make accommodations, reservations, and I believe, yes, here is the link to where you can make the pre-arrival and post-arrival. You can actually connect with Elena, and I believe we've already tried this and it works very well, that many of you guys who want to stay after and actually do some excursions outside and about Calgary can stay after the conference. What we do not want you to do is, while the conference is happening, we do not want you to be out and doing tours or going out to dinner, or when you are registered to X-Culture, from the time that you arrive to the time that you depart on Saturday morning, we would highly recommend that you participate in all activities that are afforded to you. There are going to be mandatory activities that you have to participate in, and if you don't participate in all of the mandatory activities, you risk not being able to get your certificate of participation. And you don't want to do that, because that's the little piece of paper that you put in your resume telling people that you actually participated in this global conference that is really admirable for those of you guys who are looking for jobs. Other things that are on this, if you want to do off-campus accommodations afterwards, here are a couple of public accommodations. It looks like Econo Lodge, Aloft, Holiday Inn. Those are all very good hotels. As you can see, they're pricey. I believe that's $149 Canadian, so it will be cheaper in US dollars.
About 72 cents.
Okay.
So about 30% cheaper.
Perfect. Okay, so, and you can also do Airbnb. So, and if you do Airbnb, what I would do if I were a college student, I would go on Facebook and I would say, hey, fellow X-Culture Calgary participants, How many of you guys plan on staying after the conference? And can we all get together and pool money and go rent an Airbnb somewhere up in the mountains? You know, so that's another great idea for you guys to do. I think if you're going to be there, make the best out of it, make the most out of it. But just be informed that while you are with us, the week that you are with us, we want you to only participate in the activities that we have prepared for you. Okay. I want to talk, I want to give Maddalena the floor, because Maddalena, I want you to talk to them about some of the optional activities that we did in Italy in the evenings, and what kind of activities you plan on doing in Calgary if you've already spoken about it.
Yes, okay.
Can I make a very quick remark, just one very quick remark on that last point. When we did the event in Miami 2 years ago, we packed the program every single minute with some activities. And so there was really no free minute for anything else. And so one of the challenges we faced was that students could hear the ocean because we were right really close to the shore, but they never had the opportunity to go and see the ocean, for example. And so some people in the end were not happy that we didn't leave any time for them for any, you know, private time. So this is why in Italy and now also in Calgary, you will have a couple of evenings that will be open. And it's not because we don't want to feed you on those days. It's because we know that we want to give you a little free time. And so that's the reason for that kind of schedule, you know, feature. Yes, go ahead, Maddalena.
Okay, thanks. I would like to make a few examples of what we did last year in Macerata. For example, some after-hour activities were dancing sessions. We organized a dancing session which was very fun. And for example, there was the chance to go to the opera, because Macerata is very famous for its opera theater. And so we had the chance to attend the opera, which is also something very special for Italy. So Italian people are very fond of opera, and so our students had the chance to see a performance at the theater, and they also had a chance to see a performance in the city, in the streets of Macerata. It was called Open Air Opera. And a lot of people, if not all the people, loved it. And actually, we have to decide what kind of activities we will plan after the lessons in Calgary. But I guess that these examples could be fine for Calgary as well. I mean, not the opera example, of course, but we could do something typical for Calgary. Yes,
we might have a rodeo.
Yeah.
Macerata was opera.
Yes, and we also organized an Italian language session, or a self-defense lesson. We had a student, a participant, who was in charge of explaining us how to do self-defense moves. And so I think it will be equally fun in Calgary, even if actually we have to decide properly what we will organize.
So I think Joe, Karen, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe is also coming this time, right? No, he's not. Okay. So what I know people are going to want to do is line dancing. So I think that we should have some line dancing classes. I also know that you guys are, for example, when you guys had the scavenger hunt around the area, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that wasn't an after-hour activity, but it was very fun, and we will definitely have it on Calgary.
Now, the reason why I asked Maddalena to share that with you is, you know, keep in mind that the other reason why you are in Calgary is, besides, of course, the challenge and becoming familiar with the university and all of that, is to also get to know people and maybe befriend people who have shared interests with you. We're probably going to have soccer tournaments, for example, because the boys always love that. I know that there are going to be a lot of dining opportunities in the evening with different groups of people. So I want you to understand that even though during the day we have required activities, in the evening there are going to be an ample amount of selections of optional activities that you can participate in. Okay? You're not going to get stuck in a university for 7 days.
The Olympic Games of 1988, much of that was happening on campus, or the Olympic Village became part of the campus. So you will, for example, be able to go to one of the best in the world ice rinks, and you usually can see athletes like literally in national, like, you know, there will be a team, for example, from Sweden training there, or there will be a team from Kenya training there. So that just, you know, like you literally see where the Olympic flame was. They still have that flame thing there. So that's an interesting, you know, one evening kind of tour. It's right on campus. Like you don't have to take a bus. It's right there.
Yeah. So, and what we'll probably do is start posting a lot of these things on Facebook. And that's why, Madalena, it's really important that we get everybody on Facebook, so that if there's a new discovery that you post that, and then people can connect using that link.
Okay, can I say something? Because it's connected to what you have already have just said. I tried to reach out to nearly all the people who will attend the symposium, asking them to add me on Facebook or to send me their link to their Facebook page, because I'm in charge of adding people to our Facebook group, where we have already posted the travel documents and other useful pieces of information. And where, as you said, we will post all the pieces of information that the participants will need. So in case you're not part of the Facebook group yet, please reach out to me, either by email or on Facebook, and I will add you to the group.
And for those of you guys who are not on social media, and if you're not a fan of Facebook, we are requesting that you participate just for this particular event. It is a closed group. Yes. Nobody else can enter it. And it is our main source of mass media communications for Global X Culture Calgary. Okay, so please make sure you do that. Okay, so the next thing, everybody good? Can I continue on with the agenda? Because we got 10 minutes. Yeah? Okay. So the next thing that I want to cover is the agenda. So let's see if I can get it open. Okay. Now, again, going back to nothing is written in concrete yet, right? This is preliminary, and we're still working out the kinks in a lot of this, okay? So we're anticipating that students will be arriving between 1 and 5 in the afternoon on Sunday, and they will be registering. Upon registration, we will then have an ambassador bring you to your room so you can freshen up and then get ready for our welcome reception. We are hoping that we will have some city officials there. We are also hoping that we'll have some First Nations, which is the Native Tribes of Canada, there. And it is going to be a hoedown. We have dubbed this the hoedown, where we're going to have traditional Canadian barbecue and live music and entertainment. Line dancing is going to be the first night. Then the second thing that the next day, we're going to wake up to a Canadian pancake breakfast. And that's where we're going to do all of the official welcome information, right? Setting the expectations, meeting with the dean and our local faculty host, who is Professor Leighton Wilkes. Of course, Vas and I will be there. Tim and Ernesto are going to talk about the challenges. And then Karen and Vas is going to talk about the faculty development and the hackathon that most of your professors will be participating in. You'll also meet your ambassadors. And then at that time, your ambassadors will split you up and then take you on the tour of the campus. Ambassadors are going to be your, kind of like your teaching assistants, right? They're going to take attendance. If you need anything, you go to your ambassadors. Then we're going to have lunch. Lunch is going to be typically 12 to 1 every day. And then in the afternoon, you're going to meet your challenge companies. And then we're going to break out into our challenge company question and answer sessions. The second and the third day is when we're going to actually do our site visits. Now, in the past, like for example, in Macerata, we divided our students by challenge companies, and those students were only able to go to those challenge companies. And Vas was, he had a fear of missing out syndrome. So we decided that this year we would actually invite everybody to go see all challenge companies. So in the morning, you're going to do site visit for the first one, the second one in the afternoon. And then the next day is going to be an all-day event. We're actually going to go to Lake Louise. Lake Louise is, Vas, how far is it? Like 2 hours?
About an hour and a half.
Okay, so it's far. So we're going to travel there, and then we're going to spend a day somewhere along the way. We're hoping to put together a picnic lunch for you. As you guys know, that part of the world, I believe Banff is one of the largest national parks in the world. So
right, and the mountains themselves, I mean, we are talking about arguably the most spectacular part of the planet. I mean, yes, maybe some places in Himalayas, maybe, I don't know, maybe in Andes, but we are talking about some like really, really serious mountains. Mm-hmm. The lakes with water so blue, like there's some mineral in there. Like, you know, this is when you see those motivational posters, you know, with someone doing something and, you know, a nice saying, and there is like a big, nice mountain in the back. That's probably from Banff National Park. I mean, we are talking about some really, really serious scenery.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm hoping that you guys take advantage of that. Okay, so on Thursday, we're going to have, again, breakfast. And then Thursday is really the day where we're going to have a lot of the workshops. We're planning on having some panels in the afternoon, faculty lectures. I'm thinking of doing one, which is TBA, so I have to talk to Karen about this. And then on Friday is actually when you're going to be doing your challenge presentations, okay? So I want you to really start to think about, okay, if I do this particular challenge, right, how do I really view myself in the way that I challenge, that I present to these organizations? You're gonna work collaboratively with your coaches in doing your presentations with your teams. But really this last day is where you have to bring it. You're gonna have to dress very nice. You're gonna have to start practicing and rehearsing and of, you know, being in an audience of executives and really collaborating with people from all over the world. So I know that a lot of you guys who are watching this, you know, you're sitting alone by yourselves in your dorm rooms and you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is all going to be so new to me. But I want you to know that we are here to help you. We are here to help prepare you, and your ambassadors who are, once you get on ground, who will start coaching you, will be there to help you every bit of the way. Okay, Saturday, you're going to have a farewell breakfast in the morning, and then everybody has to leave on Saturday morning, and because that's when we stop paying for the dormitories. However, if you are staying longer, I believe that everybody will be switched to the other dormitory so that they can turn over this one particular dormitory. Couple of things that you, so we're down to 4 minutes, a couple of things that you need to keep in mind when we put you guys together in a team, right? So that's going to be coming soon, I believe sometime this week. That team will be your little family, so get to know them. You are also going to be assigned to a team of ambassadors. That team of ambassadors will be your teaching assistants, so get to know them. They will be your connection to anything and everything that you need at the time that you are with us, okay? In the rest of the month of May, we are developing for you guys some getting to know you activities. Your team ambassadors are actually going to be developing that for you. So look out for that, that correspondence. Also, I believe that Ernesto and Tim will be releasing the challenges in the first week of June. And we expect for you guys to start working on your challenges virtually from the time that you get it And then by the time that you get on the plane to come to us in Calgary, your research should already have been done. And that when you get to Calgary, all you're really doing is tweaking it and then preparing for your presentations. Okay. I see that we have some questions and we have 3 minutes.
I've been actually trying to monitor the questions, but most of them were relatively simple and specific to a specific case, so I answered them in writing. But so yeah, there is a good question from Emily Kyle, one of our X-Culture kids. So how does it work with the parents? So Emily, you will have a separate room, so it will be still a double room, but for you and your parent, they're together. So that's why you had to pay a little bit more than other participants, because there are 2 of you, right?
Yeah. So that's basically all I have for day 1. I think we should do probably 1 or 2 more of these, Vas, before.
Yeah, we will definitely, and probably topical, so kind of related, some to, things to do before or after. There will be probably something specifically on how to prepare the presentation. One thing I would like to say again, we would like you to come fully prepared and just polish your presentation on the side. But then again, what happens in many cases, some teams have some ideas, but do most of the work on the side. So again, there will be a lot of work going on during the event. One thing that we will do for the first time this year is, in the past, we would form teams about 2 months before the actual, or about a month before the actual event, and you start working on the task right away. This time, and we will have a meeting with the ambassadors in a minute about that, we will also have like a team building period. So we will form teams this weekend, but we will not ask you to start working on the challenge for a few more weeks. And during this period, we will have some team building activities, some activities designed to help you to get to know both your team, but also the rest of the cohort. And so hopefully this way, it will also help you kind of have more fun, but also come a little bit better prepared. So we'll talk about that obviously again separately. It's a little bit more specific than the general topics.
So, I mean, just to conclude, that's all we have time for today. I hope that we cleared up a couple of things. The most important thing to worry about is, again, your travel information. Make sure that you have made your travel arrangements, and also use that Facebook page to start getting to know people, so you're not traveling by yourselves. I know a lot of you guys are very young and you're coming from Asia or Africa. Just know that we've got you, but that you've also got to do your due diligence and get yourself prepared, okay? And we'll talk to you next time.
Yeah, email is also always still a way to reach us if you have a specific question. That's also a good platform.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
All right, we have the ambassadors. Yeah. So the Calgary mascot, the bull, says bye and see you in Calgary in a few weeks.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So those of you who are staying for the meeting of ambassadors, I'll close this meeting and then start the next one in a second.